Hi, my beauties. Still not feeling all that great, but I wanted to do this video and get it up. This is part 2 in my series for beginners. We're going to do a step-by-step neutral eye, okay? The only thing that I've done is my eyebrows, kind of. I'm gonna do the cleanup, but because I do the cleanup with my shape tape, Tarp shape tape, I also use it to prime my eyes, okay? I start off with my eyebrows, and then I clean up and prime the eyes and set it. But one of the first things that I do that I recommend is picking out your colors. So that way you kind of have a plan. I don't always stick to it, but at least I have a guideline. With neutral eyes, you really want to be careful with your colors. You want them to be in line as far as tone goes, but you do want enough contrast so that when you're blending, they don't blend together and just look like you slapped mud on your eyeballs, okay? Which is very easy to do when you're doing neutral colors. I typically don't work out at just one palette, okay? Just to warn you. This is a brush, let me see, so you can see close, that I like to use for doing my cleanup. All I do is I get a little bit on my brush and I wipe off the excess, and I get my extra magnifying mirror because I'm blind. And I always start on the underside of it, okay? And I just come up and just trace a nice line under my brow. I also wipe off the excess oil that might be on my eyelid, and then I just start bringing that color down and then start getting it all over. Sometimes might need a little more because you knocked off a little too much. And I just kind of brush that on to my lid, and then I usually come through and just kind of press in so that it looks all blended, okay? And then I get a little bit more because we're going to do the top. And just come through and what this does is kind of give your brow a little definition. It gives it a cleaner edge, okay? And then with this, I just tap in okay, and then when we do the rest of the face, it'll all blend in. And as you can tell, my eyebrows are not the same. I'm desperately trying to get some more hair to grow. when you're plucking, you never want to go above the line. Back in the day, that wasn't the case. So I'm trying to get it to grow so that it matches this one, because I like the arch in this one. But until then, my eyebrows don't really look related. So I just kind of deal with that fact.
This would be a great shape to try. Then the cushion is underneath. Okay, the asher cut is underneath. This is our foray into the step cuts. So we get to see those clean facets. They're very linear.
And then you just repeat the process on this eye that we did on the other.
Yes, so true. And then if you want to really spread that flat shaft, try the emerald cut because they have the rectangular shape to it with those long leaf facets. Up to the other side. We've got a whole other column of choices. That'll go over here. Okay? So
And I always manage
we can't choose. Try the cushion cut. Marquise is for my glass.
to get more of the concealer on this eye than I do on this one.
This is your chance to try your own.
No matter what I do, that is just the way of it.
The tabletop. So if you like to get big bang for your buck, give oval a try. And then underneath the pear shape, kind of combining a marquise and a round. And then you're showing the marquise, or pardon me, the yellow gold versus the white gold. It takes on a different personality.
And so remember, I'm going to go back to what all you can choose. There are 4 decisions to make. First of all, which carat weight do you want? 1 carat, 2 carats, or 3 carats in a solitaire? The price does vary from $89 to $99 to $109, but you're getting it on 6-month easy payments.
And what I use for my brows, honestly, is I just use an eyeshadow.
And this is genuine gold. This is not gold layered over something else. This is gold like you buy in the jewelry store.
And then I come through and I look at my eyes,
Where you have to decide
because I do have discoloration on my eyes as well. And I also want that color. As you can see, there's a lot more on this one. And
to $18 a month. You know, some of us never had a solitaire, and I say us because the engagement ring that my husband offered me more than 35 years ago was not solitaire necessarily.
Okay.
It was a center stone, but then it
So,
automatically had.
that's about as good as it's gonna get.
And so, you know, it's like
Then,
and elegance and clean line.
you want to use a shadow to set, but you want that to be relatively close to skin tone. So I'm going to do the Violet Vase Thanks a Latte. I have so many brushes. I'm just going to use a little angled fluffy. It's just what I prefer. Any kind of fluffy brush will work. And you just want to dust that all over your lid. So what this is going to do is, and I always go by feel. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay. Now, I typically, when I pick up a shadow, you're always going to have too much, okay? And that's going to dust out onto your face. That does wonders. Just tapping it lightly. Okay. Alright, so now that we've got that, I typically start with a blending brush, okay? And that's just kind of a big fluffy. I think I'm going to stay in the Violet Voss for the moment, and I'm going to go into Bestie and start putting that into my crease. Now, I have hooded eyes, so I typically go above my crease line to kind of lift my eyes. That's not something you need to do if you don't have hooded eyes, okay? And I typically go in a circular motion, okay? And I just start building that up until I get it to where I want it to be. I have 2 magnifying mirrors, so, because I'm rather blind.
So the fact is that a lot of people do use diamonds as their engagement ring for the first, for the time being, or I know
And
who don't want to be bothered.
that should do it. Okay, so laying a nice kind of neutral in the crease area. Now what I like to do, just to give it a little more definition, is I come in with another color slightly darker, which this, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Sorry. And I typically go with a little smaller of a brush because I want a little more control. And I still, because of the hood, go above my crease line some. But I bring that under that shade. And just kind of blend that in.
Speaking of white gold, if you want 1 carat in white gold, the only stone left is the Marquise cut. So, and only sizes 6 and 7. So the 1 carat in the white gold is really kind of spoken.
Sometimes just kind of packing it in helps, because I'm not really getting what I'm looking for. So let's see here. All right. This is the Pretty Vulgar Nightingale palette. I'm going to go in with Flip Out. Okay. I just want a little more contrast. There we go. Now I'm getting that contrast that I wanted.
Now, carat weight in the world of diamonds doesn't go up by $10 per carat. That's the cost of no one likes to talk about the diamonds, but we deliver with a smile and diamond, and then we throw in the confidence.
And this is just to give a little bit of depth to that crease area. Okay, see how that made a big difference. Now, debating between these 2 palettes. I'm going to stick with the Pretty Vulgar And I'm going to get another flat brush. And I'm going to come into hide and seek. Well, do I want that? Yeah. This right there. I'm going to put that on my lid. Here's hoping I can remember everything so I can get the other eye to match. But for the sake of time, I didn't want to do too much. So, just putting a light color down. Then I go in with my darker, which I'm going to go back to the Violet Voss. And I have got something all over the little plastic. I think it's concealer. Shh. Gonna go into Brownie Points. And for that, I'm going to use this, hush, be good babies, this angled Little Fluffy. Shh. I'm going to bring that into the outer part. Hush. I think the mailman's here. I think that's the problem. Now, if you have wrinkly lids like I do, you kind of have to get everything into all the little nooks and crannies there. Just dropped a brush. Marley? No! You have to watch him. He's very quick. He will grab anything. He has gotten broken glass before, a razor blade off the bathroom tub, all without noticing. How he has managed to not injure himself is beyond me. But not one cut. Ladybug, no. Shh. Hush. You can't speak English. No. All right, I need to get this brush before they do. Move. Move. Thank you. Okay. Now, I mentioned I have too many brushes. Yes, I do. Okay. So this is just a real small detail. I'm going to go into the Violet Voss teddy bear. And that's where I'm going to deepen this very outer edge. Hopefully. There we go. That is a hint to an excellent diamond simulant lookalike because diamonds would be set that way. Now on the sides, we did a 3-stone but with round diamonds. And those were chosen because Prince Harry got the center stone from Botswana, where they have typically I like a little more bolder look. And then with that, I just kind of clean up that crease and deepen the actual crease part, not just above it. And I usually use my darkest shade for that. And this video is still super long. I have to have everything like perfect.
And the thing is, I'll show you the size
It's the
of that
OCD.
center stone. It's a little bit more than a quarter of an inch, about 5/16 of an inch. And then you can see those beautiful sides. One thing I want to also show you
Okay.
is the profile. And
So,
that sits up.
what I do once all that is done
Sits up about
is I come in
7 inch. So it's not too high. I've worn it
with
many times. And
like a
I
blending.
take off my wedding ring
And,
right on my wedding
well,
hand.
actually before I do that,
It's just, it's one of those beautiful pieces that you don't have to look different. And when I'm out and about and I wear this ring on my left hand,
see
people are
here.
like, wow, that's a beautiful wedding ring. And they don't know who I am, and they're just like making that comment. whether
Trying
it's
to
at the grocery
think.
store or wherever.
I think I'm gonna do that thanks a latte again.
Say, well, it's very much like Meghan Markle's ring.
This will work.
The idea, when we debuted this, the ring
And I'm just going to,
led into the Royal Collection. We were inspired by the Royal
and I usually pack this on pretty thick.
unique. It's something that we all admire in pictures and on TV. So we said, let's look to those designs, pull inspiration
And
from
I'll
them,
show you
and
why.
recreate them in Diamond Ink. So this now allows you to have that part of history. 2018 to me is the year of celebrating
Because when I come in, I start blending with my lightest colors, which is going to be right up here at the brow bone.
baby on the way in the spring for Meghan and Harry. So more celebrations.
And just run that across in circular motions with a clean blending brush. Okay? Now as you can see, that highlight really calmed down. Okay? Then I'm going to come in here on the lid, and then I'm going to start working my way through that crease, because I am one that likes things. Hey. No. I apologize. But I like things super blended. Okay? And Marley,
So look at how beautiful that piece is. It's stunning, it's gorgeous. It's less than $40. You know, I think about so many times people come up to me and say, I don't know what to
Okay.
buy so-and-so. And
So,
you have some ideas for
I'm gonna pause.
And I'll say, well, how much do you want to
do
spend?
the other eye, hopefully the same way.
$50, and,
We'll
you
see.
know, they're thinking like,
I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead and did my face. Okay. Now, one of the things that I do is carefully and slowly I get my eyelashes into this curler. Okay. And then I hold it there for probably about a minute. Okay. And I say very carefully and slowly, okay, because it's real easy to pinch. And if you go slowly, if you are starting a place where you're going to pinch, you can back off before it hurts really, really, really bad. Trust me.
Silver basically is what we're doing in this collection is the same as what we do in the gold side. Solid bars, this time of silver, put into all of the unique.
And then
patterns
I
that you
typically
come to
go
love
back
on the
over
gold side. And these bars that are diamond cut, that are sparkly,
just to give it
the gorgeous gemstones,
a
are
final
what we call
push.
beach bars. And they are all
I don't hold it as
diamond cut.
long.
These solid bars are all diamond cut, you guys. And that is why you are getting this refraction of light. That's why you're getting all this glittery sparkle.
Okay.
Borders
Then
accompanying the gorgeous, shapes of the gemstones.
I always recommend doing your bottom lashes first,
Big, huge, wow,
because if you think about it,
and I can't even
okay,
believe the price tag. I mean,
if you do your top ones first
it's like shocking.
and then go to do the bottom,
So upscale
if you
with
pay attention, you can feel the eyelashes come up on the eye.
It just gives this a
Well, that's going to leave
whole
marks.
new look and design flavor.
And
Like, we
I do have a trick too,
that everybody loves. Everybody wants that.
that if
Yes, yes.
You want the
you get
flexibility.
mascara on you,
Let me just reach over and grab one of these.
Yeah.
Look at the flexibility of this.
there's a couple of
So you might
things
think
that you can
it's going
do
to be very stiff because it is so
to get it off.
But look at this. That has that movement to it. I love that big oversized spring ring clasp on it. It's easy to maneuver.
Yes.
But keep in mind, from $36 to $40 and with credit card order, and this is in your
I
hand.
apologize, I have a hard time
Exactly.
walking and chewing
Well,
gum.
and the thing of it is too, you want unique and different.
Yeah.
This is very unique and different. Everybody kind of makes a lot of the rainbowy kind of things out there these days. But you know something? This is upscale rainbow. If you want something that's really gone high and bigger, bolder, wider, and affordable with the glittery look.
Now I know a lot of people have been saying,
present to me from me.
And by the way, that's
well, I'm going to be able to show you.
Red Garnet Citrine. We just saved you 50 to 60
I did forget one thing.
on that piece. And this
I just
is
realized,
the satin leaf bracelet.
typically I put a little shadow under the eye,
Available at stage 355.
and there's a trick to that too.
Without the gemstones, if you decide you want to get
We'll
them.
try to
And you'll see
get that
on
after
the
this.
coming up next because we have something. We have that right next to something that's coming up right now. We have a 5-year warranty on this next watch. Just know that when you buy something like this, when it's from Ecclesi, it's built to last. It's absolutely something you should
Okay.
take a close look at.
Then I come up to the top,
New to QVC and you haven't shopped with us,
and I usually start in the middle.
I want to introduce you to Robert Elizondo. He is an amazing
I'm not sure exactly why.
designs almost
It's just
all
what works
of
for
them
me.
in sterling silver, although we've got one coming up a little later in stainless steel. But Robert, you've been designing for almost as long as Benda's been.
We brought our collection to QVC in 1991, actually. Yeah.
Then I carefully get the outside edges.
You beat me a couple of years.
That's so great. It's so neat to have you still here. And
Great.
this is a totally different design. Something so fun. And I think a lot of times buying watches as a gift for the holidays makes so much sense. I'm just going to move these a little bit so that you can see the faces. There we go. But we offer these in several
And then
different
over to the
colors.
other
We have
side.
The gray. Now these are the actual straps are
Now,
braided
I
with
typically
leather. So
brush
that
back
is
just on the
braided
tips
leather. Next to that is the
of
black.
the
That
lashes.
was out back in June.
Oh, you're definitely going to get to see the trick because I just tried to poke my eyeball out.
And then we also
Um,
have a chocolate brown. But this is a
But I
beautiful
typically
piece
do
of
that just so
it is
that
sterling silver, but
it really
it's
defines that upper lash.
gorgeous detail work to it. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, I'll tell you, I was so excited to finally be able to work with this material and everything because this actually goes back to a company that I
And
interned
I know a lot of people were saying they really didn't care for the Grande mascara.
and they provide leather components to some of the
I really like it because whereas it is subtle, you can build it up with other coats without getting spider lashes. And what spider lashes are those that you can look at someone and really see how many coats of mascara they put on. I'm not a huge fan of clumps. Some people are. They like that look, and that's fine. Because one of the things that I've always said is makeup is an art. It's your art. So, do you. This is an eyelash comb. And I carefully come up on the underside. Needs washed. And bear with me. It's got a little buildup on it. But I run it through carefully. Separates the lashes. It takes out any clumps that are there. And all I do to kind of clean it, is I run some micellar water.
Solid sterling silver on this fine piece.
And keep in mind, we have, now what color are you wearing, Brittany? You've got the gray on,
That was
okay?
so
And
chic.
I'm wearing the
There
blue.
we go.
We also have it in chocolate
And then
brown. We have it in that pink. That pink is very, very popular.
come through those
We have
top
it in black.
lashes.
Black sold out last time it was on, which was way back in June. And I want to remind you, this is a sale price. Sale prices go up at the end of today.
And it separates the lashes, takes out any clumps
And that's 20, basically
that you might get.
$20 from what our QVC price was. Plus it's on 6 monthly payments of $13.33, 5-year warranty. And let's take one and open it if we can.
Sure.
Also, just to show them kind of how that grade, there's actually
Okay.
some metal.
Yeah, we actually,
metal.
So
yeah, we actually did. So the
we've gotten the lashes,
grade the leather. I think it's
and I will be
8
right back.
strands of wrapped Italian calf leather.
7 1/4 inch.
Okay,
and a large
I'm back. Just wanted to get some lips on. Typically, especially with going with the neutral eye, I would go with like a real bright red or something of that nature, but decided to kind of keep it all low key. The trick, because I got some mascara under this eye, take a spoolie, okay, preferably one that's not got fuzz on it, and just lightly brush where you have the mascara on your skin.
Okay, this is my sunshine. So on the back it says you are my sunshine.
And it will, but you need to make sure you let it dry, because otherwise you end up with a big mess. Under the eye, I would take something like this brush. You want to start with like your deepest color, because you want to tie that in to that outer corner. And I'm probably just going to stick with that. Now typically I would kind of close my eye, but I'm just very gently going over with just the lightest touch. Just get a little color in there because we already did mascara.
Okay, so besides myself, I spent 10 years living through Europe and Africa. I love to explore, travel,
And I apologize.
But more importantly,
Sometimes I forget, especially if I'm instructing.
I do believe we are on this journey together. I think there are times we get off
I
the
had
wrong avenue on the highway of life. It doesn't mean
a,
that's where you are. Doesn't mean that's where you're going to be. I want to remind each and everyone, and I say each and everyone, I'm talking about myself.
Stroke.
Tell myself, Scott,
6 years ago.
there's a reason why you are where you are.
So
right now.
sometimes,
So creating that compass
still,
was just a little story for me to
my
set up
brain
and always pivot. I
misfires.
can always go east, west, north, south. I choose the direction of my life. So I just want to remind everyone again,
Okay.
as we go into 2019,
So
enjoy.
we fixed that little
That is the beauty, the destination.
that I did
It works
notice.
so hard to get there, but then you're there and you're like, this is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Enjoy it.
well,
That's the risk.
all those years raising your children.
Doing it after.
Rush, 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 and you think, oh my goodness, that was the gift. Every second, every day, that was the gift. So, just little things because I find ourselves, we're so,
Your mascara.
and we're so the same. So each piece of me in text.
And by the way, that angel is flying out of here.
So I'm just kind of getting those back into shape. One thing that I did want to show you, okay, say for example, you're at work or you're out to doing something and one of your friends says, let's go out to have drinks or something. You're like, well, really don't have a nighttime look on. Easy fix. If you carry something like this, this is from LA Splash. Okay, colors. This is their Diamond Dust. Now this is kind of like in a, let's see if you can see. It's kind of a brownish, okay? If you have that, you don't need anything but your finger. Just kind of dip it in. And then, no, it's also trash day. Anyway, dip it in and just use your finger and lightly pack that over. So now you've turned your basic neutral eye into a nighttime look very easily. It's not something you need to carry a bunch of stuff with you at all times to transition. Okay? This is very small. And in an attempt to hurry, kind of a little fall off. Setting spray. It's your friend, because if you kind of look a little caked up or anything, just make sure you close your eyes and your mouth, because it doesn't taste very good. And you just lightly do like that. And it just kind of, and you can also carry, you know, a small one like this in your purse as well, so that you can kind of just freshen things up a little bit. Just a little tip there. I hope this helps. If there's something you have a question or you want to see, again, just leave me a comment. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or, you know, do something else. I think I'm also going to do a step-by-step bulb look. Okay? Not anything real crazy, just, you know, something that's not neutral. So, I hope you enjoy this. Sorry it was so long. And until then, goodbye, my beauties.